And welcome back to the Friday Rock Show. It's only an hour this week, but after we finish, you get another chance to see those fantastic rockumentaries Behind the Music at 1 a.m. with Ozzy Osbourne, followed at 1:30 by Metallica. So set your VCRs. However, we do have time, I'm really happy to say g'day to this gentleman who's a legend in his own right, and a legend in many hotel foyers and many hotel registers as well. This is Mr. Phil Mogg. Mr. Mogg,
Hey.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Serious pleasure to meet you. Now, before you do any history, and there's one hell of a history about UFO, new album here, right? Which is basically, I mean, a UFO album in many ways.
It's the same lineup that we had on the last tour we did, but with a different guitarist.
Right.
Who was well at the time, so, yeah, it's the same kind of lineup, yeah.
It's also, I mean, I've had it for about a month or so, and I've listened to it on headphones, I've listened to it on speakers low, speakers loud, and it's very much it's just so in the UFO tradition. It could really be a follow-on that you might have actually made, say, in about 1986 or wherever. It's just UFO to the max, and the best album I think you've had out in years.
It fits into that, the same kind of vein, and we approached it in the same way that we used to, which was more the kind of fun element. You know, let's see what we can come up with. And I think it's preferable to the last sort of section of UFO stuff we did. It's very much in that vein, and the guitarist, Jeff Coleman's, sits in there real well too.
There's an enormous amount of confidence in it.
Yeah. That mainly comes from working with these. If you work together for a year or 6 months, you know, on the road, blah blah blah, you come to really feel comfortable with the people.
Right.
So it was an easy transition to go from being on the road to straight in and doing an album.
Why have you called it Mogg Way and not UFO?
Well, there's one of those legal wranglings where with UFO, either if Michael's not in it and I'm not in it, it won't be UFO. There's a deal we did a long time ago, so it couldn't be UFO without one or the other.
OK. But you're in it, he's not, right?
Yeah.
So therefore he's stopping you using the name. Is that the assumption?
It could work either way.
Sure.
You know, so, but it's kind of like you're stuck with it, so let's get on and do something
right.
in the interim, and that was what we came up with.
How many songs have you written or co-written over the years?
Good ones. No, there's a...
You've got a hell of a catalogue of songs.
There's like a couple of handfuls of good ones, but I mean, I guess it's 10 albums, which, I don't know, a lot.
Yeah, but, a lot of songs, a lot of material.
But if you shave it down, you probably come up with about a dozen good ones out of the, you know, if we could have written the whole lot then and then sure. made an album of the good ones, we'd been great, but...
what you think of as, in your mind, as classics?
Well, I think The Strangers in the Night album was obviously the one that did it for us, so the material off of that album would be, we'd say, oh, this is real UFO stuff. But in between some of the albums we did, like The Wild, the Willing, there are bits and pieces off of different albums, like Profession of Violence, and different songs off of different albums, which are real good. But because the album sometimes is on the low side, you know, of songwriting, you know, you haven't got the great songs, but you've got there's a few real good songs in between those. Are
there any songs that you think that your public, your audience, have completely missed?
I think, no, actually, no, our fan base tends not to miss anything. But The Wild and the Willing, I thought, was a real good, a good UFO album. And the material was really good off that. And it waned slightly after that, but I thought that was a good album that was missed.
Mm. How many lineups have you had? I mean, I tried to count them, and over the years, I mean, since going back to, what, 1969, over the years, he's in, he's out, he's back, he's gone, he's there. Where amazing, is he? Who's there now? But you're always there.
Well, it's always, it's kind of, it's like a rota, it's a rostrum. Pete's been in and out, and Michael we hadn't played together with for like 15 years until we did that tour again. But when we got back to playing, that felt more the natural UFO, the original kind of lineup we had. So, but we've been through all those changes, different people.
Lots of changes.
Usually keyboard players and drummers occasionally. But that's a general... I used to, when I first started off, I couldn't believe it. I looked at these bands and thought, no, you can't keep changing members. You know, it would never happen. But as you go through this thing, you realise someone wants to go off there and do something else. Someone's not interested in this. There's some, you know, it changes.
There's very little you haven't seen in the world of rock or experienced. You are, I mean, legendary alcohol consumption for some period of years, and everything else as well. Written about, documented. Miracle the guy's still alive, but I'm damn glad you are.
No, do you know, I was never part of that. I watched it, and I saw it going on, and I thought, no, I'm not going to get involved in that. Well, it was like, I mean, I guess like everybody else, it was lively, and I always found it the same as generally like everybody else's. You know, you go out Friday night and you have a good time, but ours got extended to the whole week, which made it a bit difficult for some. You know, after a while, after 3 months, it becomes a bit sort of woo-wee. But I think it got under control and it calmed down.
Did you make an effort? Did you? Was there a period in time when you went, I can't go on like this, because if I do, I'm going to fall over and get out of the business because they're going to carry me out in a box?
I think I fell over before, but yeah, that's you come to the point where you say this can't continue. We have to do something with it, and that's what either you do that or you don't. Yeah.
In amongst all the gigs you've done, and my God, God knows how many you've done, is there a classic gig, or indeed a classic place to play over the years?
Winterland.
San Francisco.
Yeah, which Bill Graham was doing. That was brilliant. Fillmore East, Fillmore West, Hammersmith Odeon, Marquee Club, the old one.
Yeah, the original in Wardour Street.
Those are all gigs which I remember. The Marquee Club, when we started becoming popular, and we actually started selling the club with no great amount of publicity, and that was good. Yeah. Hammersmith was great.
Hammersmith was always a great gig. I saw you there. Every time you played there, I saw you there.
And those gigs are very, you know, memorable. The American ones with the Bill Graham gigs were because of how he was. But no, that's in the collection.
What about a tour in the UK? Did we get to see you play live?
We did one with Michael a year and a half ago. No, a year ago now. But it looks as if something's on the cards for next year, so hopefully we'll. Excellent. And, of course, there you'll be performing this track, which is Lights Out. Phil, thanks. Nice. Thank you, Tommy. Really. Thanks.